It's a scene no one wants to see in post-conflict Northern Ireland. Children helping to clear away the rubble left by rioters. In the early hours of this morning, this little girl's mother had to get her and her 11-year-old brother out of their home on the Protestant side of the interface because they were so frightened.
There was bricks being fired over that way. My windows got up. I had to get the kids out of the house because they were squealing, being sick. They were up the stairs in the bedrooms, and as you can see, that's one of the bedrooms, and they were in there, and I had to get them completely out of the house, round to my friend's house.
Last night's violence.
500 people took to the streets, involved in full-scale rioting. At one stage, gangs of young men fought hand to hand.
Police say the u.v.f orchestrated the violence going into the nationalist short-strand area of East Belfast. The trouble escalated with petrol bombs and blast bombs hurled. And then the guns were brought back out with shots fired from both sides and 2 men being rushed to hospital with gunshot wounds. Sharon O'Neill reports.
The sound of gunfire in the early hours of this morning. It was amid scenes of some of the worst rioting East Belfast has seen for years. Tensions have been simmering for weeks between the two communities, and they exploded last night. What we know so far is that at around 9 o'clock last night, up to 100 mass loyalists, armed and many wearing surgical gloves, attacked Catholic homes in the Short-Strand area.
Heard thuds, seen the bricks coming up the windows. Looked out the living room window, and there was umpteen masked men kicking at my car, screaming, "Come on, you fiend be." It's like a film. There was that many of them. They were like ants just coming from everywhere.
Before long, there was hand-to-hand fighting, stone throwing, followed by petrol bombs, and eventually live gunfire from both sides.
I've spoken to the PSNI senior officers tonight, and I'm satisfied, and I'm making this call. The u.v.f were involved in attacking the Catholic people of Short-Strand, and I think it's absolutely shameful in this day and age. This community has to put up with this yet again.
In excess of 10 petrol bombs coming from the grounds of St Matthew's Roman Catholic Church over the top of the police Land Rovers and into the houses that were rendered defensive because the people who lived in them were pinned in the back by the actions of the way the police had chosen to police this.
We believe at this point that members of East Belfast u.v.f were involved. It will be a line of investigation to establish whether that was a coordinated and organisational position, but at this point we're satisfied that at the very least members of East Belfast u.v.f were involved in organising the disorder last night.
Police have confirmed that shots were fired by both sides and that 2 young men from the loyalist side of the interface were treated in hospital for gunshot wounds. On the nationalist side, a Catholic man needed hospital treatment when a block was dropped on his head. His brother didn't want to appear on camera.
He was hit on the head with what they say was a quarter of a concrete block, which knocked him unconscious, and now left him in hospital with a fractured skull.
But both sides suffered in a night which saw people forced to seek refuge with friends and family.
I have 3 young kids in the house, and they couldn't have stayed there, but I couldn't have got out any earlier because of the stones and bricks and bottles, everything that was getting thrown over at us. And I just had to wait until there was sort of a wee bit of calm, and I just had to get the kids, lift them out of bed in their pyjamas and run to my sister's car and go to my mum's to stay.
Nowhere to live?
No, definitely not. It's definitely not with kids. I have a 7-year-old son who has Asperger's, so his wee mind, at the minute, he just doesn't know where he is.
Within the last hour, the First and Deputy First Minister met the Chief Constable, a clear sign of how serious this violence is being viewed. Sharon O'Neill, UTV Live.
The most serious violence witnessed in Northern Ireland for decades. Jane Lockery has been looking at why it may have erupted in East Belfast last night.
These freshly painted murals on the Lower Newtonards Road, replacing murals of Glentoran Football Club, have been interpreted as the paramilitary group reinforcing its presence in the area. The police say the u.v.f, who are meant to be in ceasefire, organised last night's rioting. A local community worker and PUP member says there have been growing frustrations in the loyalist community.
Loyalism at the minute feel unrepresented. They need representation. They need people to listen to them. And if I don't listen, so I'm not saying that I know everything and I'm Mr. Smart, but if I don't listen to concerns within my communities, things like what happened there last night are going to continue to happen. Loyalism feels outside the process, and do you know why? Because we've been pushed outside the process. Nobody is trying to bring us in out of the cold. We were part and parcel of what's happening up in Stormont. But you know something? It's like still a cold house for loyalism. No one seems to want to help the communities that I come from.